Good morning. Welcome to the 36th Annual General Meeting of Usha Martin Limited. This meeting has been conducted through video conferencing, other audio-visual means, which is in the compliance with the various circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI. Before we start the meeting, I would like to take you through certain details regarding your participation at this meeting. The facility for joining this meeting opened 15 minutes before the scheduled time of the commencement of the meeting, and it will remain open. In accordance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the facility to appoint proxy to attend and cast vote for the members is not available for this AGM. However, a body corporate is entitled to appoint authorized representatives to attend the AGM through VC, other audio-video means, and participate and cast their vote through e-voting. The registered office of the company situated at Kolkata shall be deemed to be the venue of this AGM, and proceedings of the AGM shall be deemed to made thereat. Please note that, as per the statutory requirements, the proceedings of the AGM will be recorded and made available on the website of the company. In accordance with Companies Act and SEBI listing regulations, the company had provided remote e-voting facility to all members, for which the voting lines were open from 9 a.m. on 26 July 2022 to 5 p.m. on 28 July 2022. Shareholders can opt for only one mode of e-voting, that is, either by remote e-voting or e-voting at the AGM. Shareholders attending the meeting who have not opted to cast their votes through remote e-voting earlier may cast their votes through the e-voting at the end of this meeting. The procedure for e-voting at the AGM is same as the procedure for remote e-voting. Mr. A.K. Lab, practicing company secretary and proprietor of Messrs. A.K. Lab and Company, has been appointed as a scrutinizer to scrutinize the remote e-voting and e-voting at the AGM. Mr. Lab shall scrutinize the voting results and shall not later than 2 working days of conclusion of the meeting submit the consolidated scrutinizer's report. The voting result shall be declared at the registered office of the company at 2A Shakespeare Sadani, Kolkata 700071, and shall also be posted on the website of the company and simultaneously be communicated to the stock exchanges. The Register of Directors and KMP, Register of Contracts or Arrangements in which directors are interested, Secretarial Audit Report and all other documents as mentioned in the notice of the 36th AGM are electronically available for inspection during the tenure of this meeting. With this, I now hand over the proceedings to the Chairman, Mr. Vijay Singh Bapna. Thank you.
Good morning, shareholders. I hope you and your family members are safe and in good health. I welcome all of you to the 36th AGM of Usha Martin Limited. The meeting is conducted through audio-visual mode. My name is Vijay Singh Bapna and I am the chairman of the company. I am also the chairman of the Audit, CSR and Risk Management Committee of the board and a member of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee. I am participating in this AGM visually from my residence in Mumbai. As the requisite quorum is present, I declare the meeting open. I wish to now introduce my colleagues and the KMPs of the company. Mr. Rajiv Jawhar, Managing Director of the company, participating in this meeting visually from Singapore. Mr. DJ Basu, Mr. D. Bhaumek, full-time directors participating in this meeting from the registered office of the company in Kolkata. Mr. R. Venkatchalam, Independent Director, Mrs. Ramani Narula, Independent Director and Chairperson of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, and Mr. S. Ravi, Independent Director and Chairman of the Stakeholders Committee, are unable to attend the meeting and accordingly are excused from attending. This is Mr. Thu, member of the Stakeholders Relationship Committee, and myself, members of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, will be available to answer any relevant shareholders' queries. Now, I again extend a warm welcome to all the shareholders, directors, and participants to this 2036 AGM of the company. As you are already aware, this AGM is being convened through video conference and other audiovisual means without physical presence of the shareholders. The annual report for financial year 21-22 has already been sent to you through email. It's my pleasure to state that in spite of challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic and global geopolitical supply and adversely impacting logistic and input cost, your company adapted to the challenges posed through the external macroeconomic environment and undertook several mitigation measures such as enrichment of the product mix, penetration in new market, etc. Your company stood resilient and profitable among many odds. As a responsible and concerned organization, the company's main focus was on safety and well-being of employees and their families, other stakeholders, and the community at large. All offices and production facilities continue to follow the safety protocol and guidelines issued by the government. The company the company's strategic exit from the steel business in early years resulted in significant deleveraging of the balance sheet. Now, our focus on core competence of the company, i.e., the wire and wire rope business, has started to yield results as is reflected in our performance figures and our tagline of resilient, profitable, and sustainable. Your company has declared dividend after a long time gap, and 200% dividend is highest in the last few decades of Usha Martin's history. During the year under review, your company achieved a turnover of around 2,688 crores on consolidated basis and around rupees 1,810 crores on standalone basis as compared to around rupees 2,097 crores and around rupees 1,346 crore respectively in previous years, where a considerable increase of reported figures of the last year. The EBITDA was around 450 crores consolidated as compared to around rupees 206 crore in previous year. As you are aware that the board meeting for approval of the financial results for the first quarter ended 30th June 22 is scheduled to be held on 6th August 2022. Hence, the data with respect to the performance of the company for the first quarter shall be available thereafter on the website of the company and that of the stock exchanges. With this, as chairman of the company, I would like to thank every stakeholder associated with the company for their faith and support during the difficult times. I wish all you and you good health, prosperity, and happiness in years to come. Thank you, all the participants. Now I hand over the team for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the notice convening the 36th AGM, auditors report and secretarial audit report had already been emailed to all the shareholders. With your permission, they are taken as read. Para numbers 4 and 5 mentioned in the page 78 of the annual report in the auditor's report segment are self-explanatory. There are 7 resolutions put up for approval at this AGM. The first resolution is adoption of the financial statements of the company, both standalone and consolidated basis, for the year ended 31st March 2022, together with the directors' report and auditors' report thereon. The second resolution is declaration of dividend of rupees 2 per equity share of rupee 1 each to 200% for the financial year ended 31st March 2022. The third resolution is appointment of director in place of Mr. D. Bhaumik, who retires by rotation of being eligible, offers himself for reappointment. The fourth resolution is revision of remuneration payable to Mr. Rajiv Jhawar, Managing Director, effective from 1st May 2022 till the end of his present tenure. The fifth resolution is revision of remuneration payable to Mr. D. Bhaumik, Whole-time Director, effective from 1st May 2022 to the end of the year and end of this present tenure. The sixth resolution is payment of remuneration to non-executive independent directors during the financial year 2022-23. The seventh resolution is ratification of the remuneration payable to the cost auditors, Messrs. Mani and Company, for the financial year 2022-23. The text of resolutions along with the explanatory statement is provided in the notice circulated to the members. Since this meeting is being held virtually and resolutions are put to vote only through e-voting, the practice of proposing and seconding of resolution is not being followed at this meeting. We now come to the question and answer session. The shareholders having queries or seeking clarification on the proposals or on the annual report were requested to register themselves as a speaker from 19 July 2022 to 21st July 2022. Only those members who have registered themselves as speaker will be allowed to speak today. We have received requests from 23 members from registration as speaker shareholder at the AGM today. All the shareholders have been provided specific links to log in into the meeting, and we shall be allowing them to speak one at a time. We request each speaker to limit their speeches to 2 to 3 minutes for the benefit of other speaker shareholders. The authorized representations from corporate shareholders are available with the scrutinizer. Before we go live with the question and answer session, here are some points to note from your convenience. When your name is announced, kindly turn on your video, unmute yourself, and proceed to speak. Please mention your name and location from where you are joining. To avoid repetition, the board shall respond to your queries at the end. Any pending questions shall be answered by the company suitably post the AGM. Once you have spoken or asked a question, you can continue to watch the proceedings. I now invite Mr. Manoj K. Gupta to unmute his audio and switch on his video to ask questions. In interest of time, may I request you to restrict your queries or comments to 2 to 3 minutes.
Hello, good morning, respected Chairman, Board of Directors, fellow shareholders. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
yes.
yeah, good morning, especially to our MD that we are missing him from last 3 years to meet physically. And we always ask company secretary, he says, yes, we will organize a meeting with you, with our MD. And he has fulfilled his assurance to shareholders like me that company will turn down with short period and company will be in black and company will pay the dividend. That he has fulfilled his commitment and vision, and that he is going to the company is going to pay the 200% dividend. And when I met the company secretary, I had asked her that why are you paying at a certain at a one time 200%? Why you should reserve for next year? Well, no, our MD has assured to all the shareholders, and a stormy meeting was held in Vidya Mandir 3 years back, and he assured so that he kept his promise with the investor, so that we are paying 200% dividend. And I thanks to you, your team, and the entire staff for their hard efforts to turn down the company. मे भी कुछ बेचा कुछ बचाया, बेच के भी अगर हम अपने सही दिशा में और सही रास्ते पे चले आए, तो स्वामी विवेकानंद कहते थे कि कुछ खो के भी कुछ अच्छा हो तो अच्छा है. तो वो जो मैनेजमेंट ने डिसीजन लिया, उस समय हम लोग को भी एक पेनफुल डिसीजन था. हम लोग उस एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी जनरल मीटिंग के पार्ट थे जब उस कला मंदिर में, कलाकुंज में, जब वो स्टील प्लांट को बेचने के लिए बुलाई गई थी. तो हम लोगों ने भी कहा था, तो मिस्टर झावर ने कहा था कि समय आने पे सब ठीक होगा. तो आज जो शेयर प्राइस 14 रुपये आ गया था, आज वो प्राइस 151 रुपीज है. और आज जो डिविडेंड 200% है, यील्ड ईपीएस अच्छा है, रिटर्न ऑन पर शेयर अच्छा है, ईपीएस अच्छा हो गया, सब अच्छा हो गया. And I also thanks to Mr. Boral that would always take care of the small investors always, and he helped the investors to resolve any issues. So how you will face the inflation? Inflation has gone up by 20% to 30%. Inflation is a big challenge now throughout the globe. Globally, inflation is challengeable. Every raw material as price has gone up 20% to 30%. And sir, what's your future outlook for wire rope business globally? Future outlook. And is there any impact through Russia-Ukraine war, direct, indirect, in export of our products? And I strongly support all the resolutions. And you have many subsidiaries. Have you any plan to reduce the number of subsidiaries to save the paper costs, tax, and manpower? Kindly take a proper step. Now the government is asking corporate sector to reduce the number of subsidiaries to avoid several things. And I also thanks to Mr. Lakhotia in presence of Mr. Jhawarji. He always take care of the shareholders. And I believe that Mr. Jhawar will back soon to India and he will meet his investors. And आई बिलीव दैट बिफोर 15 अगस्त आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव जो भारत सरकार ने कहा कि हम सब कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर मनाएं, उससे पहले मिस्टर झावर आएंगे और वो मनाएंगे देश में अपना आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव. एंड सर ला आई स्ट्रांगली सपोर्ट ऑल दी रेजोल्यूशन. थैंक यू.
Thank you. Mr. Gupta, the company has noted your questions and they will be answered at the end of the session. We shall now take up the questions from our next speaker shareholder. Ms. Yachna Bhatia, you are requested to switch on your video and unmute yourself to ask questions. Yachna Bhatia, may we request you to unmute yourself and please proceed ahead with your question. As there is no response, we will move to the next question, which is from the line of Digantharia. May we request you to please unmute your video and audio and proceed ahead with your queries.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, sir, I had three questions. First question is that in the last year, we almost saw that our EBITDA per ton in the domestic business was around 18,500 rupees per ton. So, I just wanted to know that is there any kind of inventory gains which is there in that number, or is that number at the domestic, at the standalone level? Can we take that number as a steady state number? And this number improves as we focus more and more on value added products. So that was my question number one. Question number two is mainly on what kind of replacement demand can come for our product. So if you can just tell us that how much of our revenue comes from replacement, and what is a typical life of the wire ropes that we sell. And so one more related question here is that what would oil and gas as a sector, the entire upstream, downstream, midstream, how much of that would contribute to our revenues? So these are my three questions. And lastly, if any color you can give on the capacity expansion that we are doing, and how much of the high value added products can we do there, that would be helpful. Sir. Yeah, so these are three questions from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haria. The company has noted your questions and they will be answered at the end of the session. We shall now take up the questions from our next speaker shareholder. Ms. Yashvi Kothari, please go ahead with the question. May we request you to unmute your audio and video and please go ahead. As there is no response from the line of Ms. Kothari, we'll move to the next question. Our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Rupesh Tatia, please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your query.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Mr. Rupesh Tatia, we cannot hear you clearly, sir. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello.
As we cannot hear.
Your voice is cracking.
We just tested before the call and it was fine.
As the voice is not clear, the chorus call operator will check your line in the backup. In the meanwhile, we'll move to our next speaker shareholder, Ms. Bharti Saraf. May we request you to please unmute your audio and video and proceed with your questions.
हाँ जी, नमस्कार मालिक। आदरणीय सभापति जी, मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर? जवाहर जी, आदरणीय सभापति जी, उपस्थित निधन सदस्यगण, मेरे शेयर और भाइयों बहनों, मैं भारतीय शाह में ज्वाइंट होल्डर संतोष कुमार साहब बोल रहा हूँ। आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। आशा करता हूँ आप जितने भी डायरेक्टर हैं और जितने भी अधिकारीगण और जितने भी कर्मचारी हैं इस समय स्वस्थ और अच्छे से होंगे सर। जवाहर साहब, मैं आपको भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ। आप फॉरेन में रह के भी मीटिंग अटेंड कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको है। और सर, कंपनी काफी परफॉर्म, इस साल तो शेयर के दाम इतने ज्यादा हो गए कि हम एक्सपेक्टेड भी नहीं कर सके, तो हमें काफी अच्छा रिटर्न मिल रहा है। फिर भी मैंने होल्ड करके रखा है कि मुझे आशा है कि और भी भविष्य में मिलेंगे सर। और सर, मैंने प्रश्न तो बहुत है, लेकिन मैं और प्रश्न में परफॉर्मेंस में नहीं जाऊंगा कि जितने प्रश्न करें उतने कम होते हैं आपके परफॉर्मेंस के सामने, क्योंकि इतना अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस है, क्या बताऊं मैं सर। और हमारी सेक्रेटरी को धन्यवाद देता हूँ, उनकी इतनी मेहनत का फल है कि मेरा कनेक्शन टूट गया था, फिर भी दोबारा मुझे कनेक्शन दिया गया, उसके लिए मैं उनको धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर। सर, मेरा एक ही बापना साहब और जवाहर साहब आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है सर, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट ज्यादा से ज्यादा करिए सर। वुमेन को ज्यादा से ज्यादा देने की चेष्टा करिए सर, क्योंकि अभी वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट जरूरी है। अपने देश के प्रेसिडेंट भी वुमेन है, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर भी वुमेन है, और खेल कूद में भी वुमेन बहुत ज्यादा, और पढ़ाई लिखाई में टॉपर वुमेन होती है सर। उनको मौका दीजिए तो जरूर अच्छा रहेगा सर। एक सर, रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए आपने क्या कदम उठा बताइएगा सर। और एक रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के बारे में क्या कदम उठाए ये भी बताइएगा सर। और सर, एक सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक के बारे में क्या कदम उठाए ये भी बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। सर, अभी पिछले हफ्ते मैं कोविड से उभरा हूँ, इसलिए मैं चाहता हूँ कि जितने भी हमारे कर्मचारी और उनकी फैमिली है उन्हें ये थर्ड डोज जो गवर्नमेंट की दी जा रही है, इसके लिए आप रिकमेंड करें, उनको दिलाइए कि तीसरी डोज लेने के बाद में अगर किसी को कोविड होगा नहीं, इसकी तो गारंटी नहीं है, तो होता तो उसका असर बहुत कम होता है। जैसे मेरे को भी फील नहीं हुआ, 1-2 दिन में मैं ठीक हो गया था। तो हाथ जोड़ के रिक्वेस्ट सर, उनको ये मौका दीजिएगा और ध्यान रखिएगा। और सर, ज्यादा समय लेते हुए एक फिर बार आपके और आपके जितने भी परिवार और फैमिली और जितने भी डायरेक्टर अधिकारीगण जितने भी हमारे कर्मचारी उनके परिवार की अच्छे भविष्य की कामना करता हूँ, भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ। 2 साल तो बहुत कष्ट से बिताए हमने, लेकिन भगवान अब 2022-23 सभी के लिए वेल्थी, हेल्थी, प्रोस्पेरस और सेफ्टी के साथ बीती। तो सर, लास्ट में यही कहना सर, अगले साल पता नहीं फिजिकल मीटिंग होगी या बीसी मीटिंग होगी, तो मैं चाहूंगा बीसी मीटिंग होगी तो काफी अच्छा रहेगा सर, क्योंकि बरसात का मौसम होता है और हम भी बुजुर्ग हो गए, तो इसलिए कि घर से बैठे आपको अपने दिल की भावना प्रकट करें। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि फिजिकल मीटिंग करते तो करिएगा जरूर सर है। और इसके साथ में हाइब्रिड मीटिंग में रखिए। देखिए, आप भी सोचिए, आप भी तो बाहर से अटेंड कर रहे हैं, अगर ये फिजिकल मीटिंग होती तो आपको कितनी तकलीफ होती सर है। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि आप इसमें विचार, और अगले साल फिजिकल के साथ में बीसी में रखिए। अभी केशव राम ने 17 जून को की है फिजिकल मीटिंग, कला मंदिर में की थी, उसके साथ में हाइब्रिड मीटिंग की है। और इन्फोसिस वाले वही बंगलोर में करते हैं, फिजिकल के साथ में हाइब्रिड करते हैं। दोनों का कंसेप्ट मिक्सर रखेंगे तो बाहर वाले सेल भी अपने दिल की भावना और आपके लिए दुआ और कर्मचारी दुआ कर सकेंगे। जय हिंद, जय भारत। समय देने के लिए नमस्कार।
Thank you, Mr. Saraf, for all your queries. We would request our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Yusuf Rangwala, to please unmute yourself and switch on your audio and video to ask questions.
जी, सुबह रंगवाला बात करता हूँ सर। उषा मार्टिन कंपनी का मैं बहुत जूना शेयर होल्डर हूँ सर। आपने सर डिविडेंड भी अच्छा दिया सर, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी विद द डिविडेंड। सर हो सके तो अपना उषा मार्टिन का जो प्रोडक्ट है अपना ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड अपना फेमस है सर। सर ये जानना चाहता हूँ नया प्रोडक्ट कौन सा आप इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं साल में, और कोविड-19 में आपने आपका इफेक्ट पे कुछ हुआ था, एनी पीपल इफेक्टेड? सर ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है। टोटल नंबर ऑफ स्टाफ हो सके तो सर हमें फैक्ट्री विजिट कराइए सर, अपना कलकत्ता में है, हो सके तो हमें कलकत्ता बुलाइए सर, आपका फैक्ट्री मुझे देखने को बहुत इच्छा है। और मैं सब आने वाले रिजोल्यूशन में मेरा फुल सपोर्ट है। तो सर आपको आने वाले अपने कोरस पीपल के भी जितना धन्यवाद दो उतना कम है। सर आज बोर्ड मीटिंग चल रही है, आज करीबन 25 मीटिंग है सर आज के दिन में सर सब मीटिंग छोड़ के सर आप में आ गया सर मैं, क्योंकि आप बहुत अच्छे वर्किंग कर रहे हैं, आपका ईपीएस भी अच्छा है और आपका नेट प्रॉफिट भी अच्छा है। सर अभी ये साल में आपका बोनस की कृपा करता हूँ सर, बोनस बोनस के लिए मेरी अर्जी देता हूँ सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच, मे गॉड ब्लेस आवर कंपनी एंड 15 अगस्त के लिए मैं शुभकामनाएं देना चाहता हूँ सर। विशिंग यू वेरी हैप्पी 15 अगस्त इंडिपेंडेंस डे। थैंक यू वेरी मच। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र फ्रॉम मुंबई सर। थैंक यू।
Mr. Yusuf Rangwala, thank you for your queries. Our next speaker is Mr. Sakit Kapoor. Request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Yes, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yes, yes. So due to this downpour in Kolkata, which other people are also knowing, I'm on the audio mode. So my apologies for not being able, you will not be able to view me, Jawar Saab and the team. So firstly, I take this opportunity to thank the management. The operational team has put forward the best step in the best in a very conducive environment for our sector. So, sir, just a brief understanding of the enabling factors that led to these improved earnings and the continuity of those factors wherein we are either able to improve or maintain these margins. If you could give us some color of the same, of the current business environment, since our board meeting is scheduled on 6th of August, the numbers can't be discussed, but the business environment, since this is an opportunity in which a wide range of your audience can hear about your growth prospects and plans. तो सर इस विषय पर सर आप डेफिनेटली प्लीज थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन द सेम एंड ऑन द वैल्यू एडेड सेगमेंट पार्ट सर, इसमें कैसी ग्रोथ और ट्रैक्शन आप देखते हैं? और जैसे अर्लियर स्पीकर ने सर एबिटा मार्जिन पे टिप्पणी मांगी है, आपसे कमेंट मांगा है, तो उसका भी एक सस्टेनेबल नंबर मैं अपने सीएफओ सानिया साहब से उम्मीद रखूंगा कि वो डेफिनेटली इसको कैटेगरिकली आंसर करें कि किस बैंड में वो देख रहे हैं आने वाले समय में हमारा एबिटा मार्जिन मेंटेन रहेगा। और एफिशिएंसी के फ्रंट पे व्हाट आर द स्टेप्स वी आर टेकिंग टू improve the efficiency in the processes? And sir, in this wire rope segment, sir, correct me here, for the entire year, sir, we have heard many of these cases wherein in the pilgrimage part, the wire ropes have the trolleys in the wire ropes which move through the wire ropes were in some sort of trouble. So just wanted to understand what could have led to this, only the technical factors, or is also because of the wear and tear in the wire rope segment? Mane, just a thought process of how this plays out, and going forward, the circuit part or the connectivity, pilgrimage connectivity, do that lead to any participation from Usha Martin's product profile, or we are only in the oil and rig business and the material handling part? बाकी सर एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी सर कि जैसे अब आपके बिजनेस प्रोस्पेक्ट हो या इन्वेस्टर्स का इंटरेस्ट हो जो आपके मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन में झलकता है, और उम्मीद रखते हैं कि सर ये मेंटेन भी रहे, आपको सर कॉन्फ्रेंस कॉल को दोबारा से शुरू कर देना चाहिए सर। आपने 1-on-1 कई कॉल बीच में एमएफ के संग में किए हैं, जैसा हम एक्सचेंज के थ्रू हमें मालूम चलता है, बट एक वाइडर ऑडियंस को एक ही संग अपनी पूरी स्टोरी को समक्ष रखने के लिए, जैसे आप पहले रखा करते थे, आज से 5-6 साल पहले की बात है यदि मैं करेक्ट हूँ, तो उम्मीद रखूंगा कि आने वाले समय में भी सर आप इस विंडो का भरपूर बेनिफिट लेना चाहेंगे और अपने इन्वेस्टर्स को राइट डेफिनेशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन सही प्लेटफॉर्म पे सबको एक समय मिल सके, इसके लिए जरूर आप स्टेप उठाएंगे। और सर आपके सही स्टेप्स ही लिए गए हैं जिनके कारण ये प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी एंड यू आर एबल टू पे आउट 200% डिविडेंड आफ्टर अ गैप. सो आई कांग्रेचुलेट the team for the same and looking forward for further interaction, and we look for this window now to open permanently, wherein an interaction platform which is enabled by the exchanges, which is enabled in the frame of law, wherein your investors can participate. And definitely investor presentation तो जरूर आपको इस क्वार्टर से अपलोड करना शुरू करना चाहिए. Therein also correct me if the same has been started. I might have missed earlier because ऐसा मैंने देखा नहीं था. तो ये दो एस्पेक्ट पे थोड़ा ध्यान दें. बिजनेस के ऊपर समक्ष जो आप और बताना चाहें करंट ईयर में, क्योंकि इतनी वोलेटिलिटी और अनसर्टेनिटी है, तो हम इन्वेस्टर्स क्या उम्मीद रख सकते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ द बिजनेस एस्पेक्ट, और फिर डिफरेंशिएटर कैसे करें हम उषा मार्टिन को अब और पहले जो स्टील कंपनी जो हमारे अंदर में हमारे फोल्ड में थी, तो अभी हम इसको वैल्यू एडेड सेगमेंट में डालें कि कमोडिटी प्ले रखें. इसका थोड़ा डिफरेंशिएटर आप बताना चाहें सर, तो हमारे लिए बढ़िया होगा. बाकी सर मैं बहुत समय नहीं लूंगा. एंड थैंक यू वंस अगेन जवर साहब, सानियल जी, शंपा मैडम, एंड ऑल द बेस्ट. आई होप एंड प्रे फॉर द वेलबीइंग एंड स्टे सेफ सर. थैंक यू सर.
Thank you, Mr. Saket Kapoor. Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Yachna Bhatia. May we request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. First of all, congratulations. I think it's been an excellent year in very difficult circumstances, and excellent in terms of all aspects. So, sales, margins, dividend, everything. And I think your strategy of focusing on your core business is yielding results. I had a couple of questions. First is that, on the volume growth that we had in the year FY22, if you could elaborate which are the broad key segments where this came from and which are the key geographies, and also elaborate on the product mix changes that happened this year, which probably yielded the higher margin. Second question is, what is your overall market size in your key product segments in Europe, and what is your current market share? Given that Europe is now facing challenges in terms of higher steel, higher energy, does this open a bigger opportunity for us, and do you see Usha Martin gaining significant market share there? What kind of volume growth you think is possible to look at over the next 2-3 years, and which are the key subsegments which will contribute to this? My third question is, what is the pricing differential between products of Usha Martin and your key competitors? Is there a significant difference in the price? Are our products priced cheaper? Are they priced similar? Is what I wanted to broadly understand. The next, coming on mining ropes, I understand this is a key focus for Usha Martin, where we had some success earlier in Australia and South Africa. If you can give an update on the progress here, have there been any new customer additions, any new contracts? What's the outlook here? And similarly, update on the progress on port crane and oil and gas segment ropes as well. Next question is on the margins. If we look at operating margins of one of our listed competitors, BBRG, over the last 4 years, their margins are very, very volatile. While if I look at margins of Usha Martin for the wire rope division, they are very stable. So what explains the difference? What are we doing different from them? Next question is on the fuel cost. I mean, this is not limited to Usha Martin, it's across that there has been a significant increase in fuel cost. So do you have any plans on capex in the renewable segment? Next is the inventory levels are very high, and given that the commodity prices are very volatile, this can, to my mind, pose a big risk. So, are there any supply chain disruptions because of which this is very high, or this is a sustainable inventory days number to look at? If you could guide us on that. Next is on the capital allocation strategy. So if you could just elaborate, what are your capex plans segment-wise? I mean, how do you intend to spend your cash flows over the next 3 years. Also, if I look at the top 5 players, each of them have like a 4 to 5% market share. And, currently we are trying to gain market share from them and doing CapEx accordingly. But if I look at slightly longer term, say beyond the next 3 years, would you look at Usha Martin growing at double digits, or do you think, after a certain amount of market share, would it come down to a single digit growth? On the export side, if you could give us a breakup region-wise, and also if you have planned to cater to US and Europe with geographies in Europe in a big way. And also if you could cover your major subsidiaries, for some of them, we saw significant growth in sales, for example, in Europe and in Singapore, in America. So in each of them, if you could elaborate, where is this growth coming from? What changed? What was the trigger? And one last request is what one of the earlier speakers also mentioned is if we can do quarterly conference calls and the results, it'll be useful to have an update on the business for the wider business community. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bhatia, for all your queries. We would request our next speaker shareholder, Ms. Yashvi Kothari, had registered, however, has not connected. Hence, we will move to our next question, which is from Mahesh Kumar Bubna. We request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Very good morning, Chairman, Board of Directors, other dignitaries on the dais, Company Secretary and CFO, and all my colleague shareholders. I am very much sorry that I become some little due to some emergency work in my house. So I apologize for that. Sir, I cannot able to participate in the chairman statement other, but as a old shareholder since 1982, when Usha Martin Black was there, the earlier first name Usha Martin Black. Since that, I am the shareholder of this company. So I know that this company for the last 45 years I am shareholder, that this is the very, very specific industry in the wire rope and other segments in steel industry, which is very, very special business and very technicality in this sector by the Usha Martin only. No other companies in the India and abroad also cannot able to compete with the Usha Martin this technology. So when this company has started by our earlier chairman, Mr. B.K. Chawar, he was so strong man and so laborious, because when my this brother-in-law was also in this iron merchant, and he was interacted with Mr. B.K. Chawar, he was telling me entire this history that he cannot able to lose a single minute for the working of the hard working of this company's foundation. So I know very much well, and also I am interact with last 45 years with Rajiv Jhawar and his brother. So they are very much in technology in this industry, and they know very well about this business. We in any business, any industry, there may be some setback also. We had losing one our unit also to Tata Steel, but I would request to all workmen, all staff, all management staff, all directors to work so hard in such a way with their cooperation, with their ability, with their heart and soul to worship to the work and save the extra expenditure in this company, enhance the technology to have a advanced micro this production, so that we can able to establish more and more unit which we had lost in past. So next time it should not be happened. So we must have to take a oath that we will have to take at a great height again. So I am, thanks to all the director, management staff, and all workmen with their dedicated effort. This company has come again in dividend list after a few years of lapse of the dividend. Like an orchestra, every musician has to play his role in unison and harmony to produce a beautiful piece of music. Like the same, in this company, I seen that all the managerial staff, workmen, every person with integrity, cooperation, coordination, they are so high that they want to produce a better result and to when the company will come with a high this profit, high dividend pay, bonus, etc., and all workmen should be happy with they will get the bonus, they will get the extra reward, extra bonus, incentive bonus, etc. So with this, I already supported the resolution. I sent a copy of the same to the secretarial department also, and I will not take much more time. But I am very much satisfied with this management because I am long association, more than 45 years. With we had criticized a lot of things with this management, but now after this, our unit has gone very important unit gone to Tata Steel. My heart is not now accepting to criticize more. Hello, Rajiv ji, namaskar, namaskar. कृपा है तो I am a resident of the city of Joy, but now I am for the last 3 years I am in the electronic city of India. So I cannot able to go back to Calcutta due to my health problem and this pandemic. So whenever I will come, I will try to meet. George ji, आएंगे तो आपसे जरूर मिलेंगे. Thank you. With this remark, I thank you all and returning back my microphone to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Bubna, thank you for your queries. We now invite Mr. Rupesh G. Datia. Please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me this time? Is it better?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear
Kaise Rajiv ji, it's good to see you and
All
connect
good,
with
ji.
you one more time.
Same here, Ji. Nice to connect with you again. Thank you.
Yeah, I had few questions, sir. मैं फटाफट बोल देता हूँ. We are doing capex of 285 crore. If you can give a split between wire ropes, LRPC, and rest of the wires, and what kind of asset turns we can expect from this investment. And you said 12 to 15 month commercialization time, but if you can give, it'll be Q1 next year, a little bit more specific date, that'll be helpful. Any capex we're doing, sir, in international markets, Singapore, UK, if you can highlight that would also be helpful. Also, if you can highlight our capacity utilization both at standalone level and at consolidated level, especially in wire ropes, that would be helpful. That is one. Then another thing I hear, sir, from investors is this, steel cyclicality hai, maybe kuch inventory gain ho gaya, kuch one-off profit hai. So you if you can, just provide your view on it. Is at least looking at the business, it looks like steel prices are probably a pass-through for us, and there shouldn't be any upside or downside. So if you can just clarify if that assumption is a fair assumption. Then last year, ek do saal AGM mein we've been giving 20-25% growth, revenue growth guidance, and so much has changed in this year with war and everything and inflation. So do you still hold on to that guidance? That would be very reassuring if you see our business is improving and growing. Then few product specific questions. Crane ropes, I think we were making significant headway into crane ropes in Singapore port, some other European ports. So if you can just provide an update on that, how do you see that business? Then also some other shareholder asked about mining rope. Mining is a big higher margin segment with very sticky multi-year contract kind of business. So if you can provide an update on that also, how are we doing? Then oil and market in general, both onshore and offshore, if you can provide how is the demand scenario, how is outlook, how is our positioning in that segment, that would be very helpful. The next set of questions are geographical questions. I think in one of the interactions you were looking to significantly increase volume in European market. I think we were looking to set up distribution in Germany, Australia, Austria, some other countries. So how is the progress on that front? How are our European operations are doing? Then I think US businesses, because of the distance, maybe we had some shipping challenges. So how is the shipping position now? Do we see how do you see that market, because it's a pretty large market, and few of our major competitors are probably going to face energy crisis, steel price issues, etc., etc., especially competitors in Europe. So do you see that as a window to significantly grow US market? Do you see that at least a 2-3 year structural opportunity to grow US market? If you can provide some comment on that. Then next question, sir, is domestic competitor has managed to restructure the loans, and when we went through the terms of the restructuring look pretty okay, pretty favorable in terms of the company. So how do you see competitive intensity increasing in domestic market now? Is because they probably grow, they have no option not to grow. So do you see some pricing pressure, or how is in general the competitive intensity? Then we were trying to develop the services business in Singapore and I think in UAE. So the understanding was it's a very high margin, sticky kind of business. So if you can just provide an update on that, how that business is scaling up. And then the final question is, it is good to see that the next generation has joined the company. It is really good to see that. So is what kind of role she's playing? What is the roadmap or a plan? If you can provide some direction on that, that'll be very helpful. And then as other participants asked, maybe it's now I think we're ready to do probably conference call, a little bit more structured interactions with investors. So if you can consider that. So these were my questions, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Tatia, for your queries. We now invite our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Tapas Kumar Datta. We request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask query.
Hello, am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Sir, you are... Yes, sir, you are audible. Sir, you are audible, but your voice is breaking. Mr. Datta,
may I start?
your voice.
May I start, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
May I start? May I start?
Sir, please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
As there is no response from the line of Mr. Datta, unless we'll check the connection, we will move to the next speaker shareholder. Our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Gunjan Kabra. We would request you to please unmute your audio and video and proceed with your query.
Hi, sir. I'm Gunjan Kabra from Nivesha Investment Advisors. We are based out of Surat. So my first question was that from where do we source steel for the Thailand unit and the UAE unit? Is it sourced from India or is it sourced from locally from the domestic countries is what I wanted to understand. At what capacity utilization are the foreign units operating at and the Indian unit too? And also, how much EBITDA per ton can we maintain? Like, if you can explain the relationship, how does it vary with steel prices moving up or down? So how and what range can we expect when the steel prices are going down currently? And what are you like with the expectation of capex cycle revival? How do you see the market in the next 2 to 3 years, or maybe also in the near term, when the things are a little volatile because of high prices, and the situation is a little volatile, maybe a wait and watch kind of a scenario? And going forward, what are your capex plan? Like the capex plan that is already there, is it on track? And when is it expected to commence its operation? And also, if you can provide sales volume for FY16 to FY20, for the last 2 years we already have, but for the previous years, if you can provide us, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Kabra, for your queries. I would request Mr. Tapas Kumar Datta, our next speaker shareholder, to please unmute yourself and ask your queries.
Hello, am I audible? Hello,
Yes, sir. Yes,
am I
Mr. Datta,
audible?
you are audible, sir. Please go ahead.
May I start? May I start?
Yes, sir. You may.
Hello, respected Chairman, Board of Directors, KMPs, and my fellow shareholders visiting this VC meeting. I, myself, Tapos Kumar Datto, an equity shareholder of Usha Martin Limited. I profoundly express my sincere gratitude to the galaxy of Usha Martin Limited for their dedication, exertion, commitment, and outstanding achievement, by which Usha Martin is able to pay 200% dividend, first time since its inception. This is a win-win situation, and 3 cheers for shareholders, 3 cheers for promoters, 3 cheers for Usha Martin. My heartfelt indebtedness to our secretarial department headed by Sompa Ghosh Roy and Sir Boral Saheb for their excellent and remarkable investor services. They are doing everything efficiently, effectively, and intelligently. They are the persons of immense knowledge and integrity, free from discrimination and injustice, and are of excellent quality of hard-working nature. I have hardly found such dedicated staff in an organization. There is a tide in the affairs of man, which, taken at the first, leads on to fortune. Committed, all the voyage of their life is bound in sorrows and in misery. There are 2 deciding factors behind the great success of Usha Martin Limited. Right, page 14. One is divestment of its steel business undertaking, and other is increase in productivity of key products. And the decision making is timely done by our team management headed by our iconic MD, Sir Rajiv Jhawar. Erudite, articulate, innovative, adaptable to new skill, precocious in breathtaking way, extremely sharp in analytical reasoning, and astoundingly well informed in corporate law, administration, finance, and marketing. These 2 key decisions had made Mr. Jhawar a legend giving a new ambience to Usha Martin Limited. I take the opportunity to show my unremitting zeal, undying reverence, and unconditional support to Sir Hawarji and his entire team with a hope under his leadership our dream has to be bigger, our ambition higher, our commitment deeper, and our efforts greater. I do not want to repeat the same queries as I already sent to company's email. With these few remarks, I would like to conclude. Thank you for patient hearing.
Thank you. Mr. Datta. We now invite our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Abhiroop Nandi. May I request you to please unmute your audio and video and proceed with your queries. Mr. Abhiroop Nandi, please go ahead with your queries.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the confirmation. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Abhiroop Nandi, an equity shareholder from Kolkata. Sir, big congratulations for such a strong result. A very strong cash flow with improved debt equity ratio. ROC has improved, good growth in EBITDA also. So overall, a very positive outlook I'm having towards the company. The annual report has been also presented and in a very detailed and well manner. So I have gone through the major points, and I'm quite happy the way company has represented its shareholders through this annual report. The compliances have been timely, so I thank the management for such efforts that the company is putting towards creating wealth of the shareholders. Shareholder rewarding policy with rewarding as dividend is also great. It is quite optimum. The dividend payout ratio is fine. You have 7 items put on the resolution for in this meeting, and I support all of them. Since the company is rewarding its shareholder, we shareholders do not mind rewarding the directors as well. So I support all of the resolutions put in this meeting. Sir, wonderful results, as I've already told you. It totally reflects the effort that the entire team of Usha Martin is putting in towards the company. Company is planning for this capacity building. So I am totally positive on this company because it is also spending good amount in innovation, new product innovation. Overall, I am very positive with the company. I am confident with this management. So this makes me more positive towards the company, and expectations will also increase towards the company also regarding this. That's all from my side. I won't have much question. I don't have any questions. I'm very happy with what has been presented, and I'm expecting further growth in the company. I'm wishing everyone a healthier and wealthier year ahead. This is Abhiroop Nandi signing off.
Mr. Nandi, thank you for your queries. We now invite Mr. Jaideep Bakshi to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your query.
Good noon, Chairman, Managing Director, myself Jaideep Bakshi, connecting from the city. Thanks to our Company Secretary, Shampa Madam, for giving me an opportunity to express my views and also presenting an informative annual report, and also to Mr. Boral for conducting this video conference in a smooth manner and maintaining a cordial relation with all the shareholders. The good margins and the good growth results and the dividends also in this difficult period, a good outshow by our company. And how are we planning to counter all the difficulties that our entire globe is passing, and this inflation and the raw material price on one, this fuel price increase? How are we trying to counter this? Are we increasing our unit price of our items, or what are our thought process regarding this? And regarding the future plans for our global group business, in our export business, what are our plans? And kindly share with it. Any new technology observation or any value-added products in the pipeline to compete the external export market. And we have a backbone of huge experience of 60 years and plus years, and hope with this capacity we can move forward easily and overcome all the difficulties. And sir, what is our regarding this carbon neutralization program? Kindly highlight on this, and implementation of digitalization for maximum utility in our day-to-day activities. If this, and also our congrats to our R&D team for coming out with entire new products. Nothing to add more. I hope full confidence in our company, and hope our company will come out with much better results. And I support all the resolutions. Thank you, sir, and all stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Bakshi, for your queries. We now invite our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Ashit Kumar Pathak, to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Am I audible, ma'am? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. Please go ahead.
Respected Chairman, MD, Board of Directors, Company Secretary, fellow members joining 36th AGM of Usha Martin Limited. My name is Ashit Kumar Pathak from Damdam, Kolkata. My esteemed gratitude to Company Secretary Mr. Shampa Guhorai and also Secretarial Department S.N. Boral, Mr. S.N. Boral, for nicely cooperation to speaker members. Excellent financial result. Previous speakers also mentioned. I have some brief. Sir, it mentioned consolidated debt is very higher than standalone. If possible, throw some highlight in comparison. That is a reduction. Standalone to consolidate. And also standalone fixed assets also reduced by 586.77 crore. If possible, throw some highlight. And capex program next 12 to 15 months mentioned 285 crores. Sir, in respect to MD's message, respected MD's message, it was mentioned financial year 22 impacted significantly supply chain disruption, high logistic cost, higher inflation, surges prices of raw materials. To throw some highlights in financial year 23, remaining 3 quarters, where we are facing various problems, geopolitical turbulence, volatility in global economy, also had raised freight charges. If possible, throw some highlights, domestic as well as overseas business. Sir, in previous speaker also mentioned expected business perspectives, UMIL. All others are developed financial performance, where UK is new government taking various positive initiatives. Promoter holding may be increased to 50% from 42.53%. Foreign exchange earning is very nice, but also outgo is 4,679.65 lakhs. Because rupee is going very depreciating and foreign exchange reserve is very important for business perspective in my view. In page 79, Independence Auditor reports, note 30 seat mentioned 3,160 lakhs in provision and contingents also 38,379 lakhs. If possible, throw some highlights. And steps taking shortlisted the disputes regarding ST, GST and exercise. And also rupees 170 lakhs land and revenue Jharkhand Public Demand Recovery Act. If possible, throw some highlights. My previous speaker also mentioned about inventory is higher than previous year. Power and fuel cost also higher than previous year, and miscellaneous expenditure also had this previous year. Finally, does my company avail any PLI benefit from Government of India? If possible, throw some highlights. Nothing to say more. Expected everybody associated to Usha Martin India Limited, good health, perspective, and my company prosperity. Thanking you, sir. Namaskar.
Mr. Pathak?
Namaskar.
Mr. Pathak, thank you for your queries. Our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Bishwendra Narayan Kundu had registered, however, has not connected. Hence, we will move on to our next question, which is from Mr. Bimal Krishna Sarkar. I would request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your query.
Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. Please go ahead.
वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून चेयरमैन साहब, मैं विमल कृष्ण सरकार, मैं कलकत्ता से बोल रहा हूँ। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, अन्यान्य पदाधिकारी वृंद और उपस्थित कंपनी सेक्रेटरी शंपा घोष, सौमेंद्रनाथ बड़ाल जी और उपस्थित शेयर होल्डर। सर देखिए, ये जो रिजल्ट हम लोग मिला है इस बार, बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट है। जे कोविड-19 उसके बाद लॉकडाउन, लॉकडाउन के बाद आया यूक्रेन रशिया का वार, ये जो जियो पॉलिटिकल टेंशन और ये कठिन परिस्थिति में हमारा कंपनी पिछले साल से इस साल सिग्निफिकेंट रिजल्ट किया है। इसलिए चेयरमैन साहब, आप और आपको पूरा टीम को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। सर देखिए, ये जो फाइनेंस कॉस्ट ये डिक्रीज हुआ है, ये बहुत अच्छी बात है। जो फाइनेंस कॉस्ट बहुत डिक्रीज हुआ है। सर एक चीज देखिए, 221 पेज में सर ये अदर एक्सपेंसेस इंक्रीज हुआ है। सर ये कोई बात नहीं, ये मिसलिनियस एक्सपेंस में रिसर्च और डेवलपमेंट के लिए ये पैसा खर्चा किया, ये बहुत अच्छा है, ये बहुत जरूरी है। कंपनी का डेवलपमेंट में जो खर्चा किया है, तो देखिए जी, ये तब भी देखिए ये जो एक्सपेंसेस, अदर एक्सपेंसेस थोड़ा ज्यादा है, इसके बारे में थोड़ा ध्यान दीजिएगा साहब, कैसे कम किया जाए इसको। सर और एक चीज देखिए, हमारा कंपनी CSR एक्टिविटीज सेक्शन 135 पैरा 5 में ये हमारा कंपनी आते नहीं है, तब भी हमारा कंपनी ये जो वॉलंटियरली जो डोनेट किया है उषा मार्टिन फाउंडेशन को, तो ये अच्छी बात है। सर ये जो किया है, कितना किया है, ये इसके बारे में कोई उल्लेख नहीं है। सर इसको थोड़ा उल्लेख करना चाहिए, इसको थोड़ा दिखाना चाहिए जो हमारा इतना खर्चा किया है। मतलब हम लोग को ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं था, तब भी हमारा कंपनी किया। CSR कमेटी को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। सर एक चीज, हमारा ये एनुअल रिपोर्ट बहुत कलरफुल है, बहुत अच्छा रिपोर्ट है। मतलब कॉर्पोरेट इंफॉर्मेशन, हमारा चेयरमैन का नाम, हमारा डायरेक्टर का जितना नाम है, सब इसमें नहीं दिया गया है। और नेक्स्ट ईयर देखिएगा, इसको देख लीजिएगा। सर मैं ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लूंगा। तो जितना रेजोल्यूशन है, सारे रेजोल्यूशन फेवर में मैंने ऑलरेडी वोटिंग कर चुका हूँ। मैं एनुअल रिपोर्ट को फुल्ली सपोर्ट करता हूँ। सर चेयरमैन साहब, आपको लंबी उम्र हो, आप सुस्त रहिएगा। आप नहीं, पूरा टीम आपका, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी शंपा घोष, शैलेंद्रनाथ बड़ाल जी और कंपनी का जितना एम्प्लॉय है, सब सुस्त रहिएगा, ये भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ। और मेरे को बोलने का मौका देने के लिए धन्यवाद देते हुए मेरा वक्तव्य कंक्लूड कर रहा हूँ। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Mr. Sarkar, thank you for your queries. Our next speaker is Mr. Tarak Chakrabarti. Request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, our company Oldies Gold Board of Directors and our company Managing Director, Mr. Rajiv Jhaur, and our nearest very efficient ability and good manner relation to minority shareholder is very really connected. Our Madam Shampa Gorai and our manager secretarial department Mr. Bural is a excellent our relationship for minority shareholder. Proper time delivered our website, all our company AGM in various type of information proper delivered. and our VC today is server is not a sufficient supplying. He is a too much problem in the server, but our company secretarial department try to solve our. We are every shareholder already 16 shareholder is complete the speech. I am 17 shareholder. I am really very proud to this management team. The 2022 Usha Martin is a golden year. In fact of reason, I am a existing shareholder of Usha Martin more than over 40 years. I contact the all AGM this company, but I am very proud to say this management team is a very excellent working ability, efficiency, and good perfection result of the Usha Martin Industries Limited 2022 regarding to our new MD Mr. Rajiv Jhaur and organized by full whole of team with secretarial department Mr. Madam and our Bural and all associated members. In fact of reason, company past history track record is subside and newborn baby the Usha Martin, and I am personally felicitation our company managing director. I know Mr. Jhaur family not pay the 200% dividend to 22 year is a golden of the minority shareholder. This company management team pay the 200% share, and not only that, market secondary share price is exceptional. 1 rupee share is 150 rupees per share is cross. So naturally our company all side our segment scenario is too much better. Really very good monumental pillar of scenario, and really we know comments our company felicitation, company study, company business progress, company business statement, company various type of knowledgeable targeting and fulfill this past time. And really we are minority shareholder is really very proud, and this year company annual report mission vision printing all are things. Photograph is expected 9 of 100%. Benchmark point, no regrouping, no manipulated. Account standard is very highly efficient, and company development. This spend of money really is very true and fair and positive. You have expenses for the development is the company. So naturally we know comments our accounting division. Company always target cost control and cost reduce, but this pandemic situation overcome, and company steel sector division at 200% pay the dividend is a inner meaning of very highly. We are really very expected. Minority shareholder tied to 3 items: good turnover, good profitability, and good business. All are our company management team and our managing director Mr. Rajiv Jhaur keep follow up and keep is the dynamic, challenging, and fulfill 100% benchmark point. They are showing the annual report and pay the dividend our minority shareholder. Really, I pray the God. I no longer our speech. I thank all our chairman, valuable MD Mr. Jhaurji, and our all board of directors, CFO, director finance, company valuable secretary Madam Shampa Kundu, and our secretarial manager Mr. Bural is a very efficient ability. Our full team is impact is very good. We know comments, and thanks our all person of video link joining the member. All sites are queries of the VC meeting purpose involvement persons. I thanks. We are pray the God keep safe your health and your life is enjoy. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chakrabarty, for your queries. Our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Sujan Modak. I will request you to please unmute and switch on your video to ask your queries.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, respected Chairman, other Board of Directors, and my online fellow shareholders. Sir, I am getting connected from my residence in Kolkata. Sir, if we see the performance of our company, this is fantastic. Very good performance, sir. Our PBT has gone up, PAT has also jumped up, net turnover has gone up, sir. Dividend is 2 rupees you have given. This is very nice, sir. Sir, my speaker number is 18. 17 persons already may have spoken. So, sir, most of my questions they have already asked. So, I don't want to repeat it. Sir, I've got only one or two things they have not asked. I think that is freight has increased. So, in that scenario, how much impact our company will have? Please tell us. And sir, total debt of our company and how you are planning to. And my last question is, sir, in the last 1 year, was there any near miss or any accident happened in our workplace? Any lost time injury, if at all it has happened? So please tell us, and whether they all got recovered and back to work or not. So I'd like to know, sir. If possible, प्लीज ट्राई फॉर ए फैक्ट्री विजिट. सर आमने सामने राजीव जी तो सर मिलते नहीं है कभी ऑफिस में. अगर पॉसिबल है तो हम लोगों को थोड़ा बुलाइए सर. आपका सामने बैठ के थोड़ा बात करने में अच्छा लगेगा. थोड़ा बुला लीजिए इफ पॉसिबल एट ऑल. And before I finish, I don't want to longer my words. And before I finish, I'd like to definitely thank Ms. Shampa Ghosh Roy, our company secretary. She and her team has done fantastic job talking to the shareholders and linking with them and sending the everything in proper time. And especially SN Boralda, namaskar. Thank you very much, sir. You are really fantastic. And sir, I'd like to say, this is my personal view. Shampa Ghosh Roy and Mr. Boralda, they are a very valuable officers of our company. So I'd like to say them thank you again and again. And sir, thank you very much. Rajiv ji, namaskar to you. Vijay ji, आपको भी नमस्कार sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Modak. I now invite the next shareholder to express his views and ask questions. Mr. Subhashkar, may we request you to unmute yourself and ask your queries.
Are you audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Are you audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Respected Chairman, Board of Directors, and my online fellow shareholder, my joining from Kolkata. Thanks to respected Company Secretary for give me an opportunity to speak at the AGM. Our company has been a healthy dividend payout 200%. Company revenue from operation increased 17% year on year. Net profit increased 59% year on year. Sir, promoter decreased holding from 49.26% to 49.04% in June 2022 quarter. Why promoter decreased their stake? Sir, promoter holding is 49.04%, but 53.83% is pledged. How you revoke the pledge share? Sir, what is your capex plan for the financial year 2022-2023? I have already casted my vote in favor of the all resolution. I hope our company will do better in coming year under the leadership of our respected chairman. Thank you and wishing you all the best.
Mr. Kar, thank you for your queries. Mr. Gautam Nandi, please unmute yourself and ask your queries.
Yes. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you
Am
are.
I
Please go
audible?
ahead. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Good afternoon and namaskar. Respected Chairman, Board of Directors, and my online fellow shareholders.
Myself, Gautam Nandi of Kolkata, very old equity shareholder of Usha Martin Limited. Firstly, I'd like to give thanks to your secretarial department for sending me annual report and other necessary relevant papers through email well in advance. So specially thanks to our respected company secretary, Sampa Ghunjoy, very sober, well-behaved and dynamic lady, and her whole team for rendering very good services to our minority shareholders, including Mr. Boral. He is also very cordial to our minority shareholders. Sir, you are organizing your annual general meeting through video conference for the third time, and I find it is a grand success. So thanks again, sir. Sir, my earlier speakers already expressed their views and covered most of the points regarding accounts and performance of the company. Therefore, I am not repeating as per your guidelines. Sir, a few years back, we had faced GST and demonetization, and now COVID-19. Each and every company is suffering very much. But one thing, sir, I am very glad to see that despite a tough pandemic and most challenging year, your performance is excellent. You are also giving good dividends to our minority shareholders after 9 years, after a long time, and we are very happy to receive this such type of dividends, sir. Sir, your CSR activities is also remarkable. We must appreciate it. Sir, your annual report is very informative and also very attractive. In this respect, one thing I like to express. Please issue a hard copy of the annual report, at least to the speaker shareholders, sir. Sir, please also mention the speaker shareholders serial number with your link. इसलिए हम लोग को सुविधा होगा, आप ज्वाइन करने के लिए मेरा हम लोग के लिए सुविधा होगा, इसलिए लिंक के साथ सीरियल नंबर भी मेंशन कर दीजिए. Sir, I'd like to know what is your roadmap for the next 3 to 4 years. Sir, one thing, please let me know, the booster dose has been given to your each employee or not. If not, please arrange for the same immediately, because employees are the pillars of a company. Sir, please arrange factory visit, which is long outstanding, sir. बहुत दिन हो गया, sir. बहुत साल हो गया. We are eagerly awaiting for your factory visit, sir. Sir, today there are so many meetings. Sir, I am very proud to be a shareholder of your company, and I am very hopeful, sir, towards the prospect of our company, sir. I have full trust with our strong management, sir, like you, and so I wholeheartedly support your all resolutions, which I have already casted through my e-voting, and obviously in favor of you, sir. Sir, I am very happy with your company. And one thing, sir, I got price appreciation in your company's share, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Nothing to say more today. Time is very precious. There are so many meetings. Looking forward with a positive outlook towards our company with higher profit margin, handsome dividend, 1:1 bonus and return. Sir, may God bless you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Signing off, Gautam Nandi, sir. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nandi, thank you for your queries. I now invite Mr. Amit Banerjee put forward his questions. Request you to please unmute yourself and switch on your video.
Good afternoon to everyone. May I audible, sir? Hello?
Sir, right now you have muted yourself. First we were able to hear you. Kindly unmute yourself.
And that I have that visibility maybe.
Right now you are audible. Please go ahead with the question.
Okay, everyone. Respected chairman of the meeting, other board members present, myself, Amit Kumar Banerjee. May I audible, sir? Hello? May I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Mr.
you are.
Banerjee, you are
Carry on.
audible. Please go ahead. Mr. Banerjee, you have muted your line. May we request you to. Mr.
Yes.
Banerjee, can you please
I think,
proceed ahead?
yeah. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak such a beautiful occasion. Much of the speaker expressed their view. Still, I have a feeling to something on nice occasions today. It is our 36th AGM of our company Usha Martin Limited. Yes, our company is one of the brand name in the industry. Warehouse, steels, etc. Having a business under the able leadership of our MD, Mr. Rajiv Jha, having wide experience and knowledge with his entire team of management, I believe that our company will continue to maintain such prestigious brand in the coming near future also. As regards the performance is concerned, yes, it is very, very nice. Excellent performance during this year as visible in the balance sheet and the review. Total revenue increased about 1,844 crores. Profit after tax is a robust jump, stood with a tune around 211 crores of rupees in comparison with the last year about 101 crore. EPS quite jumped double, 6.94 from 3.30. Yes, there is within 200%. Market price year starting during this year about only 48. Now the today's current market price of the share is gone up to 150. So it's a very excellent performance under his leadership. Very happy to note such a wonderful performance. So, what is the key challenges to indicate for sustainable profit and growth of the company? Capital expenditure, whatever the previous speaker, kindly share your views. So, consider planned visit. I hope our company will definitely grow up, has a capability to overcome certain risks. Working together will add more value, maintain quality product, services, keeping in mind definitely the shareholders rewarding policy. Lastly, I would say also thank to our CFO, Mr. Anirban Sannal, our company secretary, Mrs. Sampa Ghosh Rai, our secretarial team members, Mr. Asin Boral, are very sincere, maintaining good relation level best. Try to resolve the issue as and when we require. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Myself, Amit Kumar Banerjee, for further proceedings to you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Banerjee, thank you for your queries. Our next speaker shareholder, Ms. Lily Pradhan, has registered, however, has not connected. Hence, we move on to our next question, which is from the line of Mr. Aman Suntalia. May we request you to please unmute yourself and proceed with your queries.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all. First, I congratulate the management for the excellent set of results and in a very, very challenging environment. I also congratulate them for declaring the dividend after a gap of 9 years. I have certain questions and suggestions to the management, sir. First, the world over there was no investment in the fossil fuel in last 10 years. Now the world has seen very high gas, coal and oil prices. And that in the and the world has faced a very high inflation due to this oil and coal prices. So I think now the world over the investment is coming in the oil and gas and coal mines. So what the company is doing to gain that business which is coming in the sector? Second, sir, US and South America is a very, very important market, and I think US market is many times bigger than Indian market, and also the South American market. I think our presence in these two market is not very, very high. So, what the company is doing to gain market share in these two big market? I think these two market are very high margin market. At the same time, I think it's a very big market. Third, sir, what the company is doing to turn around the Thailand unit, I think there's a huge opportunity to make money in the Thailand unit. I think the unit is very new and it's a very modern unit, and I think there is a great opportunity to make money in that unit too. So number four is that LRPC market is looking crowded, I think, with the commissioning of JSW plant. So going forward, we can see margin hit in this sector, in this product. So what the company is doing to I think how the company will gain the market margin here. I think we will going to lose margin in this particular product. Sir, recently I have gone through an article in a newspaper where I think it was mentioned that there is a huge opportunity in cable car business. Previously, it was used for, I think, for tourism purpose and some other purposes. But now the government of India is taking as a mode of transportation, and I think it will provide a very, very big opportunity for the company. So what the company is doing to grab that opportunity? And sir, the company is going for expansion and modernization. So in which product we are expanding our capacity and how we will market that expanded capacity? And secondly, sir, how much margin gain we will get with the modernization? And there are some, sir, suggestions to the management, like we should bring more young talent in the company. We will invest more on the research and development, and we will come out with a proper dividend policy, and we will give some proper presentation as the people, very few people know about the company. That will give, I think, great opportunity for the company to know what we are doing. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Sonthalia, thank you for your queries. With this, we come to the end of the question and answer session. I now request the Managing Director, Mr. Rajiv Jhawar, to address the queries of the shareholders.
Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Before I start giving answers to some of the very interesting questions put up by our esteemed shareholders, I'd just like to say a few words. I would like to say that we are at a very exciting stage in the company. We see great opportunities in both our domestic and international business, despite the current macroeconomic environment as well as the geopolitical challenges being faced globally. To capitalize on these opportunities, we are organizing the company to focus on some of the key strategic verticals with specialists responsible for growth of the high value added segments. As some of our fellow shareholders asked some of the questions, I'd like to say that mining in America, South Africa and Australia are very big opportunities for us. The company started this activity about 3 years ago. It takes time to develop these mining business, as these are contracts and has to go through the development and approval process with the customers, mostly the big mining companies. I'm happy to say that we have made some major breakthroughs both in Australia, South Africa, and in Latin America, and now in the US. We see big opportunities in the mining business in the coming time, and we have in the recent times booked more than 200 tons of orders for mining ropes in America and South America itself. There is a huge shortage of manpower in some of these countries, resulting into shortage of mining ropes, which is also giving us an opportunity to get orders. And I'm happy to say that wherever we have supplied our products, the results have been very encouraging. We have almost matched, or in some cases even exceeded, the life expectation of the products with the competing with the best like Biden Beckert or Hagirand, who are the big suppliers of mining rope. So I see in the next 2 to 3 years, we get almost 300 to 500 tons a month, which we are only at about 50 to 100 tons a month, and expected to even expand this over the next few years. It's difficult to enter these markets, but once you have a foothold, it is equally difficult. The business continues over a long period of time, and it's a continuous business. The second area is ports. Usha Martin has developed crane ropes, and we are now having almost 87 to 90% of the port crane rope market in India. And I'm happy to say that Middle East, most of the GCC countries, Usha Martin is having between 80 to 90% market share. Even in Southeast Asia, we have developed and are in most important ports, and including now, we have started supplying to PSA in Singapore, and we expect to get into a bigger market share in this rope. We are also now looking at expanding the port crane ropes in Europe, South America, and US. We have made certain initial breakthroughs, but I see a huge potential coming in this market. And the expansion which is being made in the plant, both at Ranchi and also now looking at Thailand, that will give us an opportunity to expand our market of port crane ropes and increase our market share in those markets. Elevator ropes and fishing ropes are also two important markets, both in the international market as well as the domestic market. Company has taken a good market share in India as well as in the international market, and that is something which is going to help us grow our market share. And we have approvals with most of the OEMs like Schindler, Kone, Otis, both in India as well as in their international various locations. And Usha Martin has started gaining market share in these areas also. For fishing rope, the Scandinavian market, the Spanish and the Portuguese market, and we have made some breakthroughs in the South American market, apart from being a leader in the domestic market here. And this is something which I expect to grow in the times to come. We are looking at beyond just products, we are even looking at expanding our services, both in Europe as well as in Singapore. We have already started this, and I'm happy to say that in the last 3 years, we have from $4 million a year. This year, we should do almost $14 million of just value-added services, of course, on the strength of our wire rope. And we expect to take it to $20 million in the next 2 years. In the UAE, we have already started this service just about 2 months ago, and we expect to ramp it up in the coming 2 years. The Russian opportunity, although the geopolitical issue is there and having impact on inflation, but we see a big opportunity in the Russian market also, because Russia used to import a lot of ropes from Europe and US for some of the very high-end special applications, particularly for the mining, for the cranes, and because of the sanctions, these countries are not supplying. So we are starting to get a lot of inquiries, and we are aggressively pursuing those. I would expect this to give us good business in the next 2 to 3 years. The service business, I'm happy to say that all our international businesses have performed very well in the last financial year. And as one of the shareholders said that what are we doing about Thailand and the European business, I'm happy to say that the European business and the Thailand business both have started performing very well. We have made some changes in and strengthened the organization structure in both these locations, and we are expecting significant improvement both in the top line and bottom line in this financial year. That would help the overall subsidiaries, including these two subsidiaries, to perform better. The European market is an important market for us, and we are aware that there could be disruptions because of the gas supplies from Russia into these places, which will not only impact the production facilities, and Germany and Europe are large producers of wire rope, and that could also give us an opportunity to get some more market share. Even their cost structure may get impacted, or it is already getting impacted, and we can see that in terms of getting better margins and opportunities for us. We are in the final stages here in the next 3 to 4 months. We would start our distribution business in Germany, and we expect to improve our market share in that region. We have already started supplies through our Rotterdam subsidiary. However, having our own presence in Germany would definitely that as well. In terms of sustainability of margins, our EBITDA margins have improved from 14,000 to 18,000 on a standalone basis over the last 2 years, and it's on a consolidated basis from 18,000 to close to 21,500, 22,000. I expect these margins to be on a sustainable level. While there could be some benefits of the inventory which could be there, but I would not say that that is anything substantial. The company, because of its diversified portfolio and our ability to develop more and more of the specialty products, I expect the margins to be sustainable in the coming quarters. In terms of the volatility of steel prices, the company, there has been significant volatility over the last 7 or 8 quarters, but I'm happy to say that the company has been able to maintain its margins. It is not only the volatility of the steel prices, but there has been volatility on the freight rates, especially to Europe and the US markets. I'm happy to say the company has been able to convert most of its contract onto FOB basis and able to pass on the price increase to the competition. Going forward, I expect the margins to be at similar levels, and we have been able to pass on the increases. The company's focus would be more and more to develop the high value added products and also increase its percentage of shares in the services area. The new modernization and expansion project taken, it is based on 100% internal accrual, and the company has taken this 285 crores expansion, which is underway. We expect to complete the entire thing by 4th quarter of this financial year, and we should start getting the benefit of this in the next financial year onwards. In terms of what is the asset turnover ratio which we will be able to get, I think we should be able to aim at almost 1.5 to 2 times. In terms of what is the percentage of assets, what is the percentage we are spending on wire rope, wires, and LRPC, no further investment is being made in LRPC. There are small improvements we are making in the LRPC, and we expect the production to come to close to 75 to 80,000 tons from the current level. We increased from 49,000 to 65,000 in the last 2 years. We expect to take it to around 75 to 78,000 in this year, and then we expected to take it to 84,000 tons in the next financial year. This would be made based on small debottlenecking and improvement in our facility. There is going to be competition, and competition is always welcome, whether it is JSW or Tata's expanding their capacity. Usha Martin has a very good brand in terms of our LRPC. We are having a good cost of production. We would compete, and I'm sure we would be able to maintain our margins. We are also into plasticated LRPC, which we have been able to develop, which is part of the plastication line along with wire ropes, which should help us get better margins both in the domestic and export market. We have been able to establish ourselves in the domestic market, and of course, we see a good demand of this coming in the near future. On the expansion, most of the expansion is on the wire rope and the improving the facilities at Ranchi plant in terms of improving the labor productivity, improving our plant, which is almost 60 years, so it required a lot of modernization and upliftment. This is going to help us reduce our cost of production, improve the productivity of plants, and most of it would be towards the wire rope volume as well as improving the product mix on the wire rope front. And what we expect, almost 30,000 tons of wire rope capacity to be added in the post this expansion on an annualized basis, and we expect almost 60% of that to be on the value-added products like mining, ports, elevators, oil sector, etc. On the oil sector, definitely with the oil prices being above $70 and as it goes to 100 plus, a lot of investments come in the oil sector, both on the offshore and onshore. And we are seeing a lot of new opportunities as well as a lot of new investments coming up. These investments take time to get converted into orders, but we are seeing a lot of pipeline inquiries on the oil side in the last 6 months. And if this is going to be sustainable and above $100, I expect the oil side of the business to be fairly strong in the oil sector to be very strong in the at least in the next 2 years. The percentage of what is our share in the oil sector of our total wire rope, I would say it would be roughly around 15 to 20%. And I expect that to go slightly more in the coming quarters as we convert these into inquiries. Vaccination, we are 100%. We have vaccinated all our people, and even booster dose is in the process. And I think there is that is a focus, and that would continue. On the suggestions of the conference call, yes, on the conference call we would start very soon, and I'll talk to my CFO, and we'll start it from this quarter itself. On the issue of product pricing, wire rope, there is a big product pricing difference between the various players. Usha Martin is, I would say, in the mid-range. The Europeans and the Americans are at the highest range. Then the Koreans. So Usha Martin would be in a similar level as the Koreans, and then there would be other players. So as we develop our higher value-added products, we are trying to inch towards the best in the industry. In terms of Bridon Beckard, honestly, I have not seen their margins, but I can only say from our perspective, our margins, I'm pretty confident and hopeful that we would be able to be at similar levels. In terms of a question that what do you expect the growth in the next 2 to 3 years based on the various expansions and the bullish, optimistic for our international business, I expect that we would grow at 15 to 20% minimum in the next, in the foreseeable couple of at least 2 to 3 years. Keeping our margin on the volume side and keeping our margins. Our focus would be in terms of our international markets. mining would be in South Africa, South America, North America and Australia. In terms of elevator ropes, it is going to be Europe, North America, South America. Of course, India always being a priority where the market is always there. In terms of our fishing rope, I already mentioned to all of you, oil and gas would be wherever oil and gas is there. We are present through all our subsidiaries there. So those countries we would be able to do that. In terms of the total debt, our net debt was 191 crores on a consolidated basis, and based on the and we expect the debt and the company to continue paying off its loans and reducing our debt and using our internal accruals to pay dividend and grow. In case of where do we buy our steel in Thailand, we used a lot of Indian steel used to go into Thailand, but because of this export duty, small quantities are coming from there. But most of it is from local Tata Steel having their plant in Thailand, and we even buy the steel from China and Korea, some small quantities. So that is, and we are able to source competitively steel in Thailand as well. In terms of our international subsidiaries capex, not major capex has been planned in our distribution subsidiaries with only minor investments in for our services business. Usha Siam has turned around, I'm happy to say, and we expect to invest. That plant is not a new plant. That plant was established in 1981. So it's 40 years since that plant is there. But we are looking at investments of $4 to $5 million in our Thailand plant during the next, I would say, 6 quarters. And it would be more focused to improve the process as well as increasing the crane rope and fine cord ropes, which Thailand specializes in. So that is something to enrich the product mix and to make it a more sustainable profit. The way it looks, our European and our Thailand subsidiaries should show a good turnaround in this financial year. In terms of the volume, I would like to say that on a consolidated basis, the rope volumes increased from 52,000 in between FY21 and 22. The wire and strand business reduced from 46 to 38,000. This is other than LRPC, and this was a conscious decision because we wanted to reduce once the steel was no more, our focus was to get rid of all the low value added wires and convert that into higher value added strands and ropes. On the LRPC, we increased from 49,000 to 65,000 tons, and overall, we increased from 175 to 190,000 tons. We expect at least a 10% to 12% growth in this year, 10% growth based on improvement in productivity from our existing plants and maybe some benefit of expansion in the fourth quarter. Next year onwards, we do see a major improvement in the volume, especially coming out of the capex. So I think based on this, I have been able to, I guess, cover all the points in our and in terms of my daughter, she has just joined, Shreya. She has just joined in end of March this financial year. She is based out of Singapore and is currently involved in the strategy, and she's looking at the innovation strategy and growth part of the business. And with time, she's getting involved in the international business. She's also going to spend significant time in India to understand, because that's where the main mother plant is, to understand. I think the first year would be more to understand the business and participate and understand the nitty-gritty. And I'm sure with time, with experience, she will take more and more responsibility. I think this is most of the questions. I hope I've been able to answer. And if anytime any one of you want to, we can have a one-on-one call with me, with my CFO, and even after this over the next few days, and I'll be happy to take any calls. Thank you so much. I hope I've been able to cover as many points I could do before. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This brings us to the end of this meeting. Members who have still not voted on resolutions earlier are requested to cast their vote through NSDL e-voting system by clicking on the voting icon on the screen or visiting e-voting website of NSDL. The detailed e-voting process is provided in the AGM notice. Let me remind you that voting will close after 30 minutes from the time of closure of this meeting proceedings. The resolutions, as set forth in the notice, shall be deemed to be passed today subject to receipt of requisite numbers of vote. Thank you all for joining the 36th AGM of Usha Martin Limited. The voting lines are now open. Dear members, as instructed by the scrutinizer, we request all the members participating in the AGM and who have not yet cast the vote to do so in the remaining period of 10 minutes. Thank you. Dear members, as advised by the scrutinizers, the time for e-voting has elapsed and they are now of the view that all members who are participating in the AGM have been given adequate time and opportunity to vote at the AGM. This concludes the proceedings of AGM. Thank you all for participating in the AGM and e-voting.